gonna get really hot in here because I turned my AC off, so if I'm sweating by the end of this, I'm sorry. Greetings, loved ones, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another big sis advice video. I actually don't remember the last time I filmed one of these, so I apologize for that, but this one, it's worth the wait, okay? I have been thinking about this idea for probably over a year, honestly, and really just didn't feel like I had the tools to have this conversation because I wasn't really like practicing it in my own life to then have advice to give you guys. So now that I have worn bathing suits out in public with body hair, I want to talk about it, okay? So this is just an advice video on all of that. I get requested to film this all the time and get questions about if I'm like judged in my life for growing out my body hair, because I, for some reason, feel like it's a debate in our society to like allow or not allow women to shave or not shave. And it's like, well, it's really not your problem if I do or not. And this video, I'm really just making for people to be able to feel more comfortable if they decide to grow out their body hair, more comfortable going out into public environments and just living their best life with body hair. And also I wanted to make this to educate people who maybe don't grow out their body hair on how to act around people who do. So yeah, this is just gonna be like my best tips and tricks and just sharing my experience. So I hope you enjoy. I just wanted to say that I have 3 videos up on my channel at different stages of, I guess, my body hair acceptance journey. The first one being called It's Okay to Be Hairy, and I will link it on the screen as well as in the description for you guys. And I filmed that a few years ago when I was still living in LA, basically just coming to the realization of like, it's okay to do this. Don't feel shame about having hair on your body, okay? It's normal. And so that was phase 1. Phase 2 was when I decided to stop shaving altogether, and I made a video being like, I'm doing this, and this is why, and this is how I feel. So I'll link that video as well. And then the last video I made about this was about what growing out your body hair is really like. Is it itchy? Is it stinky? All of those things. So if you're interested in any of those other topics, they will of course be linked below. But this all being said, I wanted to make this video specifically about wearing a bathing suit while growing out your body hair as a female presenting person, because this was probably the hardest part of my body hair acceptance journey. I really struggled with this for a really long time. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is judgment. So just fearing that people will judge you when you go out into public, whether they're your friends, your family, or a complete friggin' stranger. You're just afraid that somebody might comment on it or disapprove or whatever it might be, because, you know, we all just want to live our best lives. We all just want to live our lives free of judgment. But I really started to feel this way when I started growing my hair out to more where it was noticeable, you know, not just like a no shave November moment, which is amazing if you want to do that. But just like going on past that point of like, oh, this is just part of my life now. This is part of who I am. Literally, it grows from my body. It's fine. And so going back out into public and like beaches and rivers and all of that kind of stuff in those environments again, but while not shaving, was just a whole ordeal for me to like gear up for, honestly. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that because it's a very confident move to just go out onto public beaches and rock your friggin' bush. You know what I mean? Like, the fear of judgment was seriously the #1 reason why for the summer of 2018 and honestly the summer of 2019, I was not seen in a bathing suit other than by my partner or by close family or close friends. That's really the only people who saw me in a bathing suit. And I actually didn't wear like a bikini around strangers, something that would show off my happy trail, my armpit hair, my leg hair, and my bikini line all in one until fall of 2019. So last year when I went to Jamaica with Finley and so much of his extended family. And for real, like leading up to that trip, I thought about what other people would think about my body hair at least once a week. It was absurd. I thought about it so much. And I remember having a one-on-one conversation with one of my friends who also grows out her body hair, and she was like, well, you know, if you really feel that uncomfortable, like, you can shave. But it was one of those things where it was like half pride and then half also being like, I don't want to have to do that for people. You know, like, the only thing holding me back is what people will think. And why do I friggin' care when it hasn't even happened yet? And when I started breaking this down in my mind, I came to these conclusions. I was scared that people would voice to my face their disapproval about my decision to grow out my body hair, which is just something that's like, honestly laughable at this point in my life. Like, to think that somebody would have the guts to come up to you and say that is crazy. It takes a lot of looning to be able to gear up, especially a stranger, and come up to you. So really, I mean, the truth of the matter is that your real friends and your close family that cares about you should accept you any way that you come, any way that you look. And if somebody is in your life and they actually have the nerve to voice to you that they don't want to be seen with you because you grow out your body hair, that person is not your friend. And not only that, they just have some things to work out in their own time. You know what I mean? They got some insecurities that they need to delve into, and that's not your work to do. It's just theirs. And number two is kind of what I already said, but just I learned in doing this that it really takes a lot of loony in somebody's personality to come up to you and feel like they're comfortable enough to bully you to your face, especially people who don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I think about this, I'm like, it's one thing if it's one of your friends who maybe is like a little drunk and they're like, oh, I noticed that you grow out your armpit hair, you know, and like notices it like that and maybe says something a little weird. That's one situation. But for somebody, like if I was laying out on the beach, for somebody to come up to me and be like, ma'am, I just want to let you know I am offended by your leg hair. Like, that would just, why would that happen? You know what I mean? And I have gotten questions about this before on if I've ever experienced like public disapproval, you know, straight up to my face. Ugh, no, no, no. And no, I haven't had anybody say it. You know, I've definitely had looks, double takes taken at me for sure. And I've definitely gotten comments online because I publicly talk about growing out my body hair. And that's just being online. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a lot of people who watch this video who are like, I wouldn't do that. And like, that's fine. To each their own, but like, let me live my life, you know? But something I wanted to talk about is how disapproval from a stranger is different than from a friend or a family member because it's removed. You know, you actually, maybe you worry about it silently in your head that some people are like taking double takes or other looks. But honestly, when I was on beaches or by the pool in Jamaica, I was not spending my time being like, who's looking at me? You know what I mean? Like, I was just living my life. I genuinely was not pressed or worried about what other people at the place I was staying at were saying about me because nobody said anything to my face. And like I said, sure, maybe I got some double takes, but honestly, sometimes it's just empowering to be in those situations because you're like, yeah, you did see that, right? I'm a natural woman, okay, look the other way, or something like that. I obviously didn't say that, but I just carried on with laying out on my pool towel like anybody else would. But for real, like, what people say about your body behind closed doors is not your problem, honestly. It only makes that person look insecure, and it's just kind of like an odd coping mechanism to whoever they're talking to. You know, the person receiving that is gonna be like, okay, like, why are we talking about this girl that we saw on the beach today? Or they're like, oh my God, yeah, did you see that? That was crazy. But like, I'm not experienced, I'm just making all of this up in my head. I don't even know if that happened. Maybe it didn't even happen. So again, not my problem unless it's directly affecting me. Because truly, when we break this down, your body hair and your decision to keep it or delete it from your body, remove it, that affects nobody except you. So for anybody to actually get that worked up enough to tell you or to write you a whole thing or a text or something, I don't know. I just think it really takes a lot of energy on their part, and it just kind of shows me like, okay, you care a little bit too much. Maybe you got some things to think about. And things to think about being, how can they love their own body enough to accept everybody's the way that they look? Whoa, what a crazy concept. Not feeling the need to shove your opinion down everybody else's throats. And like, that's why I make these videos, is to be like, hey, we exist. Like, people do this, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to shove my opinion down your throat. I'm not trying to shame people who do shave. It's just a situation where it's like, to each their own. Follow your dreams. Do what you please, but don't come for me, either in my comment section, honestly I'll probably just delete it, or in real life, because in real life it would be way weirder. I would just be like, all right, you have a good day. But going back to like the first time that I did this, where I was around more people than just my close circle of family and friends, I think that a part of my fear was like first impressions and the fact that I was meeting so much of Finley's extended family. I think that there was like 30 plus people in Jamaica with us that I was meeting for the first time. But being in a bathing suit around them was never like, oh, they're looking at me, I need to cover up. Like, I quickly got over the, oh, they might judge me mindset, because nobody was. That's just the fact of the matter. Nobody was. And again, if they were, they did not express it to me. They never pulled Finley aside and were like, hey, your girl is hairy and I don't like it. You know, like the guts that takes, whew. Just a whole different story. But I just really think it's interesting that we have these kind of like silent battles in our heads, right? We make it out to be so much worse than it actually is in reality. And you know that cliche phrase that's like, don't let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game. That is literally the lesson that I needed to learn about going out into public with my body hair. Like, don't let the fear of somebody's judgment that you haven't even received yet keep you from going out and living your life. Wear that bikini this summer. Follow your friggin' dreams, no matter what your body looks like. Like, why do we let the fear of judgment dictate our entire friggin' lives? I don't understand, but it definitely keeps people indoors. It definitely makes people scared in certain social situations. And I just really encourage everybody to, you know, take that leap this summer. Wear that bathing suit that has been in the back of your closet for so long that you don't even, you gotta dust it off, you know what I mean? Because I wish that somebody told me this when I was like wearing biker shorts instead of just my regular bikini bottoms, because I was like, oh my God, someone might see that I grow out my bikini line hair. And not even because I had been judged for it. I hadn't. I was just so scared. And it's sad. It's honestly so sad for me to think about that. But obviously, my fear stemmed from a lot of places. It stemmed from female beauty standards and advertisements and societal pressure, what your friends are doing. I grew up shaving my happy trail with my friend in 7th grade, you know, because I was like, boys won't like this. Like, so many things like that. So I was definitely brought up to understand that I needed to remove my hair. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate, but I tried literally every form of hair removal. I shaved, I trimmed, I plucked, I waxed, I did all of the things, laser hair removal. None of them made me feel like I was beautiful, like growing out my hair has. And that's just the truth of the matter. When I was removing my body hair, I actually felt so much more unconfident in my body, because I was like, oh, I have ingrown hairs and I have shave bumps on my bikini line, and maybe I'll just cover it up with, you know, like biker shorts as well. Even when I was shaving, I was still covering up. And I had this realization, and you know, maybe it was from having a supportive partner, but also it was a lot of the fact of like, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of just having to remove this for everybody else, you know, when I could just choose not to and still live my life. And that process of acceptance and just being like, wow, wait, hold on. I had never had that thought before. Maybe I could just keep it. Maybe I could just keep the hair on my body and not have to remove it all the friggin' time, multiple times a week. Maybe I don't have to shave my legs every time I want to go and hang out with a boy. Like, that's not what I wanted to be doing anymore. And I understand if people still want to do that. I'm not trying to smack talk you know, completely understand. Was totally there for ages 11 to 19. But that was just such a freeing mindset for me to be in, was just that level of acceptance where I was just like, wow, I don't have to continue to alter my natural body because this is just how I look, and now I can just be, I can just exist, and people will be like, that's cool, that's badass, or they'll be like, don't like that, but at the end of the day, I'm still me. I'm still gonna be doing me, you know? And sure, I do a handful of things now to trim it or groom it or whatever to my own personal standards, but that's my personal standards. And I feel like there's a huge misconception around female presenting people who grow out their body hair and are for some reason uncleanly, unhygienic. Oh, that's gross. But wait, when the people who present themselves as boys do it, it's cool because they're a boy, you know? That's fine. That's fine. They can have armpit hair, they can have super long leg hair, but I can't? It's not uncleanly for them? I'm just saying that I shouldn't have to convince people that I'm cleanly because I shower every other day, and just because I have armpit hair doesn't mean I stink. And I just hope that as we get older and future generations also continue to do this, and this generation starts to raise children, I hope that we can just go about society as we did back in, you know, the friggin' 70s and 60s and shit, before people started marketing razors to women, because it's like, they weren't always here, but now they're here, and we've convinced ourselves that we need them, so it just keeps going. And yeah, that's a whole other topic. Female beauty standards is whew, you know, that's something I could rant about for an hour. My advice generally, just to anybody who wants to do this, is just flip and do it, okay, man? Do it so you know what it's like. Do it so you don't have to silently wish, like I did in my head when I was shaving, like, I wish I just didn't have to fucking shave. Having that thought, it's like, oh wait, you don't. Oh. But for real, you never know what it's like until you try it. You can always go back, start shaving again. That's something that is completely still something that I could do, but at least I know what the other side is like. And also, I want to say my advice to the people who maybe don't grow out their body hair, but they're around people who do. My #1 tip is don't stare, okay? Makes people uncomfortable and it's a little weird. #2 is don't bring it up. Unless you're gonna say something encouraging like, yo, it's really badass that you grow out your body hair. Like, that's really cool. Just don't say anything at all. Mind your own business, you know? But yeah, I mean, I would say in summary that I chose to do this and still continue to choose to grow out my body hair so that my future daughter and other future generations after me don't have to feel like they have to shave to be beautiful, you know? Like, I am a beautiful, natural, hairy queen, and as long as I believe that about me, nobody else's opinions matter. So take that energy with you when you go out. But for real, I know it's one thing to say it and it's a completely different thing to believe it, but I truly have felt so much better since taking that step of putting on that bathing suit, going out onto a public beach and being like, I actually don't care, you know? And in my head, it was like a whole mountain I had to climb. And then when I got to the mountain, I was like, wait, it's just a pile of rocks. Is that a good metaphor to end on? Anyways, I really wanted to make this video for you guys for so many reasons, but just to break down those friggin' barriers. We are just out here doing the work, so I appreciate anybody who is also doing the work for the hairy ones among us. And yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or you got something out of it or you want to share it with a friend, share it with a friend. If you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up for me. You can subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Ring the notifications bell if you would like to be notified when I upload. You can become a patron of mine if you want to support my earnings for this month, because I put out a ton of content on there multiple times a month. It's a fun place to be. Would love to have you as a patron. There's some noises happening outside. I'm gonna wrap this up and say, what else? I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time if you wanna hang out with me and watch me play Animal Crossing. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next one. Stay smiling. Bye, y'all.